depending on where you're located. I woke up to a bit of a surprise this morning when I threw the curtains back, because having had a heat wave last week, that's the sort of view that I got down the garden when I woke up. I don't know whether you can see that, but I think quite a contrast, I suspect, with the weather in India. But where there isn't a contrast is in our synchronized ambitions to help resolve the climate crisis. And that's part of the reason that we're here today. So, as many of you will know, we've been working with our partners at Triple Chasm and with other leading mentors and specialists in the clean tech community to support well over 100 Indian clean tech companies to achieve their ambitions to help topple or overcome this climate crisis. So 10 of those companies, the top 10, will be pitching today, and we'll be hearing from them shortly. But suffice to say that we're delighted to be working with the UK government, with the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office, and we're very much looking forward to seeing the companies pitch and also to hearing from the investors. And welcome to those investors who are with us today. I know there are some that couldn't join us, and we're forwarding the pitching sessions and presentations onto them as well. Some of you know, we're the longest standing clean tech membership organisation in the UK. We celebrated our own 10-year anniversary just before COP26 in October last year. So we like to feel that we're reasonably well placed to share some of our experiences. We've got the scars on the t-shirts of growing ourselves as a not-for-profit limited company, and we've supported hundreds of SMEs in the UK across Europe and beyond over that last decade. So very pleased to be working with the Indian companies in this particular UK India Tech Startup Programme. And I think now it's better for me to hand over to Sumesh Gotra, who's from the British High Commission in India, and he's just going to say a few words as well. Sumesh, over to you.
Thank you, Martin. I hope I'm audible. Thank you.
Yes.
So we are, just like Martin said, we at FCDO, British High Commission India, are also equally excited to see so many startups here and investors as well. So we in the British High Commission, as part of the FCDO, we have our UK India Tech Startup Fund program to strengthen the startup ecosystem in India. We have been continuously working over the past several years to support startups and help raise investment capital and through technical assistance and help entrepreneurs in their startup journey. So the startup sector is a very high strategic priority for us. The program was announced by the two prime ministers in November 2016. India also has, the government of India also has a startup initiative which fosters entrepreneurship and helps in building a better startup ecosystem in India. So our partner for this specific program is DPIIT in Government of India, which is also responsible for delivering on the startup agenda in India. So under the program, we have two aspects. Number one, we provide investment capital to funds which in turn support startups in tech-driven startup sectors which are focused on underfunded geographies and help create jobs in India. The second component is where we provide technical assistance support, just like the one program here with the Cambridge Clean Tech, where we provide technical support to startups, hand-holding and helping them in their journey. So these are the two aspects that we focus on. Under the first one, the investment bit which I spoke about, we have already made some investments. Like for instance, we have invested in the SBI's NEEV2 fund, the SBI SME fund, which is India's very few climate-focused funds in India. And through our investment, we have been able to also get in other investors like the European Investment Bank, JICA, and others. So again, we like to believe in the hypothesis that our support is helping catalyze more investors come into sectors which can make an impact on poverty and as well as joint prosperity for UK and India and also, leverage capital for climate investments. So overall, I think without much further ado, I'd like to hand over to CCT team. But before that, I just wanted to emphasize that we look forward to continuing to stay in touch with you, the startups who have benefited from this program, and understand more about how this partnership with CCT, between CCT and British High Commission, has really helped the entrepreneurs. I think we'd like to keep that dialogue on as we move on. So with that, I'd like to pass on back to Sylvie and Martin to take this forward. Thank you.
Okay, Sumish, thank you very much indeed for setting that context from the perspective of the British High Commission in India. And I think really also as well, underlining your commitment to to supporting SME startups in India and working closely with UK counterparts, and not least through this UK India Tech Startup Programme. So thank you very much indeed for that. The commitment is tangible. Thank you. Right, over to Sam now. Sam Goodall, who's going to say a few words about the programme from a Cambridge Clean Tech perspective. Sam, over to you.
Thank you, Martin. Yeah, I just wanted to give a quick introduction to what we've been doing over the past sort of month or so. Well, it's longer than that in terms of the overall preparation, but in terms of delivery. Yeah, so you can understand the journey that the SMEs have been on and the kind of program that we've built and will be kind of carrying on moving forward. I've just got some slides. Okay, so quickly about me. So I'm head of international programs for Cambridge Clean Tech. Been part of the delivery team on the accelerator this time. Also, we ran a similar program this time last year called That for Green, again with FCDO in India. So yeah, it's been exciting over the last kind of 12 or so months to kind of really develop this relationship with across the UK-India bridge and with Indian SMEs to see the kind of ways in which we can leverage some of the knowledge that comes out of the UK innovation ecosystem and work together kind of to develop those two ecosystems together. Okay, oops, slide on. Okay, so a really critical part of what we've done is to deliver this through partnerships. So obviously UK government, ourselves and Triple Chasm, we've been the kind of primary delivery agents of this work, but it really couldn't have worked without the partnerships we had and developed very quickly with a number of kind of key Indian partners. I won't read them out, but that's a mix of kind of universities, incubators, investors. And what was really exciting about that was the level of interest and buy-in that we had really from the outset on this project. We didn't have a huge run into it, so we were kind of reaching out to people and saying, look, this is what we're doing, do you want to get involved? And actually the response to that was universally positive. So these are the formal partners that we worked with, but also we've been in discussions with a number of other parties. For example, the investors that are here today. And as we move forward, we'd like to formalize those relationships to, again, as Sumesh says, really develop that ecosystem, which we think is critical to creating the kind of framework in which SMEs can really prosper, both in the UK and in India. So a little bit about the program itself. So the things that we've had to do or been doing throughout are a process of finding and filtering the companies that we worked with, accelerating them, and then something we call disseminate, share and support, and then the pitching investment activity, which is obviously what we're here for today. So in terms of the find and filter, what we've really found helpful and was the kind of primary source that we worked with was through those partners, through partner referrals. So working with partners, we got recommendations on some of the best SMEs that they were working with through some of their own acceleration and incubation programs, and they were encouraged to apply to this program. And from that, we got around 100 or so applicants. And what was really exciting is we felt we had probably 30 or 40 that could easily, any one of which could have been part of this program. In the end, we only had 10 or so. We only had 10 spaces. So we had to make a choice. We did that through a structured evaluation. With our partner Triple Chasm. They have a specific methodology for assessing where companies are in their scaling journey, and we'll hear a little bit more about those in subsequent slide. So then the acceleration phase, I mentioned the Triple Chasm scaling methodology. That was the process that we used. I've got a separate slide about that, so I'll talk about that after this one. So masterclasses, that was a thing where we ran a number of experts from across the UK who came and talked about specific subjects that were beneficial both to the companies being accelerated, but also had wider business relevance. And the reason for that is because we also had the dissemination, share and support element of the program. So that's another element. So those companies that weren't successful in becoming one of the selected 10, we also offered them a program via the Future Learning platform, where they were able to access a number of the resources that were being used by the main cohort so that they could also go on a scaling journey, a development journey as well. And they had also access to these live masterclasses. In addition, for the main cohort, we also had UK mentors. They worked with them, particularly around the kind of pitching work, the how to present themselves, how to really kind of refine their message in terms of the way they were presenting themselves to the outside world.
Just another minute, please, Sam.
Yeah, thanks, Martin. And finally, we've got the pitching investment day. So you've had the pitch book was sent out yesterday. Obviously, the pitching work today, and then one-to-one investor meetings, which are being coordinated by Sylvie. So those investors that see companies that they want to follow up with, we arrange and organize one-to-one meetings with them throughout the program. Okay, and lastly, just a little bit on the triple chasm methodology. These are the areas that those companies have worked through. I really wanted to put this up just to show what an intensive program it's been. It's been 35 hours across 3 weeks across these different organizational development areas. I won't talk too much more about that, just to say well done to all the companies that have done that. It's been a pretty intensive program, and I think everybody has really kind of made progress and really developed their businesses as a result of being involved. Lastly, the company themselves, but they'll speak for themselves over the next couple of hours. Thanks very much.
Sam, thank you very much indeed for that summary and overview of the program. Again, that just helps set the context of the specific details of this individual program itself. So thank you for that. Now we're on to the part that we've all been waiting for, to hear from the companies that are going to present to us. And of course, the investors are also looking forward to this. I could, of course, use my chairman's prerogative and say, get your checkbooks at the ready and help us solve this 1.5 degree centigrade challenge. Of course, I can encourage that. But of course, in the real world, the investors don't have a pile of cash on their armchair like you see in the Dragon's Den television show. They'll listen in today. They may request meetings. In fact, some meetings have already been requested. And of course, they'll then undertake due diligence. So just by way of example, we had our last venture day at the early part of last year. I came back from holidays in the summertime of last year. And one of my emails was a nice surprise. One of the companies had got a very large investment from Barclays Impact Fund. That was a company called AYURVEDA that do bricks for domestic buildings, residential buildings with sensors within them. But it took 6 months for the funding to come through. So whilst on the one hand, I can urge those investors to get their checkbooks out, on the other hand, I also urge some patience from the investors as well. So just a bit of an anecdote and a story for you there about what can happen over time with funding. So, right, with no further ado, I'd like to introduce Neelam Dwivedi, who is from NeelAgil Technologies. Neelam, over to you. You've got 7 minutes.
Thank you very much, Martin. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So I will share my pitch deck. Yeah, good morning, team, UK, India. And I'm really happy to be part of this acceleration program. I learned a lot from triple chasm concept and try to implement a few of the concepts over here. So my name is Neelam, and we developed oral insulin capsule technology for insulin-dependent diabetes patients around the world. Why insulin? Why we are so much passionate to bring this innovation into the market? Because there are millions of diabetes patients around the world who has to take 2 to 4 insulin injections in a day to survive. And pricking your own body multiple times in a day is a very painful process. Over the period, patients are developing pain, itching, bruises, allergy, and sometimes severe infection at the site of infection. What they are looking for is oral insulin capsule, tablet, or syrup. It's been 100 years since the discovery of insulin. Not a single oral insulin tablet is available in the market. Why? Because when we are taking insulin orally, our body doesn't differentiate between milk protein or therapeutic protein like insulin. It degrades everything into amino acids and then it is absorbed in our system. Like that, our human gut system works. So we as a team at IIT Bombay worked on these multiple challenges and we developed a novel technology which is not only protecting the insulin from gastric pH and enzyme, but it also helps in the absorption from the gastrointestinal tract to the bloodstream to reduce blood glucose level. We tested the technology in normal rat model and we were able to see the efficacy for longer duration as compared to the subcutaneous insulin. We carried out the acute toxicity study and the formulation was good enough to go ahead. The MIC assay was done and it was around 240 microgram per ml. This is the formulation which we are going to take ahead for further preclinical analysis and which is stable in gut. It is able to control the aggregation and it is having the potential to target unique receptors in the gut line and it is having the potential to cross cell membrane barrier and our US patent is granted for product and process. The value we are going to bring with this technology is it's painless, patient's compliance. It will be able to manage diabetes effectively. We could give to syrup form for kids or elder patients, and there will be no acquired infection. Currently, we are at technology readiness level 4, and insulin market is very huge. Because of our unique processing method, we were able to control the for the faster production as well as we were able to control the cost. So we developed the technology, filed the patent and spin off the startup NeelAgil Technology. We raised government grants, but right now we are looking to raise funding from private investors so that we could accelerate the process to complete the preclinical study. We are looking to carry out PKPD study in type 1 and type 2 diabetic rat model, scaling up of the technology from 1 liter to 5 liter batch, chronic toxicity study, and then testing in monkeys and self-life study. After that, we want to license out the technology, or we will carry out the FDA and CDSCO regulatory clearance to take ahead for clinical trials. This is our business model. We are like B2B business model. We are collaborated with the CROs and incubators to prepare the formulation and to carry out the animal testing. Later, looking for the licensing out to any of the pharmaceutical or biosimilar firms so that we could bring the product faster into the market for the patient. The market is pretty big for oral insulin capsule. Based on our patent rights, service addressable market is around $20 billion. And it is a platform technology. It is having the potential to encapsulate collagen, mRNA, GLP-1, which is for type 2 diabetes. There are multiple players in this field. They are also in either a clinical trial or preclinical stage like us. This is our financial expenditure. Most of the expense goes in vivo testing, incubator, and manpower and analysis. Our innovative team, we developed oral insulin technology. Myself, I am having expertise in antimicrobacterial, antifungal, protein formulation and clinical research. My co-founder and co-inventor, he's looking towards the formulation development. He's having expertise in interfacial science and surfactant. Dr. Kanchan is looking towards the legal part. Professor Jayesh Bellare, he's a co-inventor and being a chemical engineer, he will be guiding us for the scaling up of the technology. Dr. Somesh Sharma, he's the planner of this project and he's a serial entrepreneur. We have attended few accelerator program and we got government funding from Venture Center, Nidhi Prayas and WE program, which helped us to complete the part of the preclinical study. So we are looking for better investment and through UK India program and connections with the pharmaceutical company to license out later. And if it is possible, we are looking for collaboration with CROs or some academic institute who could carry out the extensive animal testing for oral insulin capsule. Thank you. Questions, please.
Neelam, that was terrific. I was just about to give you a 1-minute warning, but you finished on time. So thank you very much indeed for that. Now, I'd like to introduce our panelists for this first session today. And we have Abhinav Mishra, who's a senior associate at JPIN, and also Jim Totti from Virida. So you'll no doubt be asking a couple of questions. We've got 5 minutes for that. But if you just want to, whoever goes first, maybe we'll start with Abhinav as you're first on my list. Just give us a 10-second introduction about yourself and then ask your question, please. Abhinav.
Thanks, Martin. Thanks, Neelam, for the wonderful presentation. So hi, everyone. I'm Abhinav. I'm a senior associate at JPN. JPN is an investment platform which is focusing on sector agnostic opportunities around the world. The idea is to help companies get access to different markets and capital access from different markets. So Neelam, my question to you is, so when you compare it to the insulin that is there in the market right now, is there a difference in the efficacy or something that you have encountered so far? And with respect to the patent that you have filed, what's that exactly on right now?
So currently in market, there is a subcutaneous insulin injection, which patients are using that to reduce the blood glucose level. And we developed the oral insulin form so that it is a painless way to treat diabetic. And our US patent is granted for product and process for it is including insulin as well as the patent is covering most of the protein and the way we are preparing the formulation, that also we patented.
Okay, and is there a difference in the efficacy, or is it
Yes.
exactly like insulin, with the same efficiency?
So we tested the technology in normal rat model, but now we will be testing in type 1 and type 2 diabetic rat model to check the efficacy in diabetic mice.
Great, thanks. That was my question.
Okay, Jim.
Thanks,
Jim, over
Abhinav.
to you.
Thanks, Martin. Hi, I'm Jim Totti from Viridis Capital. I've been an investor in private equity and venture capital for over 20 years now. Started my career doing a doctorate in energy efficiency technology at Imperial College in London, then a spell at PricewaterhouseCoopers, and then more recently Citigroup and Earth Capital. And I focus on sustainability, particularly areas like energy, industrials and mobility and food and agriculture, my key investment areas. But moving on to Neelam's talk, I thought it was a great presentation. It was really clear as an investor, it's exactly the level of detail that investors are looking for as a first pitch. So thanks very much for a great presentation. My question is about the capital intensity for your development, because you said in your timeline slide that you may license earlier, but you may also want to develop your product further through into clinical trials. And my question would be, what kind of capital will you need if you do, say, get to a clinical trial stage, just perhaps a phase 1 stage? How much capital would that require? How much would you need to raise from investors if you do that yourself rather than licensing?
So roughly right now, to complete my preclinical study, we require roughly $400,000. And then for regulatory clearance and for phase 1 clinical trial, it will be around between $600,000 to $800,000. Because for the phase 1 clinical trial, only a few patients will be there, that to non-diabetic, we will be testing in normal human being without diabetes.
Okay, all right, I understand. And my second question is around the technology. You said the encapsulation technology, you had a quantum technology approach. Perhaps you could just talk a little bit more about what the chemistry is there.
Okay, so our technology is we are able to encapsulate the insulin in a molecular state. It is having the potential. It goes the coating agents, even they are in a molecular state, which is the smallest form. It goes and it binds to the insulin protein, and it is able to protect the system. And it is a self-adherent kind of technology. So based on that, it is not able to degrade in stomach pH or enzyme.
Okay, but the encapsulation then breaks down when it's absorbed into the blood.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.
Okay, thank you to everybody, and of course to Neelam in particular. That's a great start for us. Just conscious of time, so we're keeping us to the schedule. I'd next like to invite to the virtual stage, as it were, Anand Prakash Joshi, who's the Chief Operating Officer at OmniBRx Biotechnologies. Anand Prakash, over to you.
Jiran, you need to unshare your screen. That's it. Okay.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah, I am trying to share my screen, but unfortunately it is not happening. Screen share is not happening.
Okay, have you?
So, can you see my screen? Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see you.
Yeah.
Great. So, should we start?
Yes, please, Anand.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. I would like to thank everyone involved in the as the mentors, the Triple Chasm company, everybody who has given me the facility of representing my company. So I am Anand Joshi. I am Chief Operating Officer of OmniBRx Biotechnologies. We relentlessly work to make cell culture bioprocessing most scalable, efficient, and affordable. So let me brief you about the manufacturing process flow of any biological drugs, which involves 4 segments like a cloning, upstream part, which is protein production, a downstream part, which is protein purification, followed by filling and packaging. So upstream is the most critical and a crucial part of any biologics process because it is a triggering process, and it also covers a major cost of goods, COG of the any biologics drugs. So any process should be should have 3 basic process characteristics, like it should be efficient, it should be affordable, and it should be scalable. This cell culture process requires some surfaces. More the surfaces, more the cells, more the product. There are many technologies present in the market right now. These manual technologies like T-flask, multi-layer flask, and roller motors, the upper portion of the right side part of the slide. These technologies are manual right now, and they are facing problems with respect to some different regulatory bodies or different scale-up issues are there because of involvement of many manual intervention steps. The advanced version of the current technologies are there. These are the bioreactors. The bioreactors are packed bed, fixed bed. So these bioreactors are advanced version, but they are also facing these issues related to scale up of the process. So as OmniBRx, we have debottlenecked all the issues associated with the current technologies by one solution. We have given a solution called cell BRX single-use bioreactors. So these bioreactors are not alleviating the pain of current technology, but it also having many features on the top of the its major features. So this bioreactor has a dynamic bed reactor technology. So this path breaking dynamic bed reactor technology has many features, meaning the 200 liter, the bioreactor of scale of 200 liter can accommodate up to 1500 meter square surface area, which is maximum in the industry. It also accommodates 5000 meters square, meaning more the surface, more the product, more the product. So this huge scale up capacity also ensure the proper mixing and proper homogeneity of the culture. So all the cells will be in healthy condition. This technology also reduce the upstream bioprocessing cost by up to 90%. So it will also be cost benefit to the users. So this technology has other benefits like single use technology. It is totally end users customizable, less facility footprint, less carbon footprint, fully automation. All these features of the technology makes it most efficient technology present in the globe. So this slide shows you the product, which is 5-liter single-use bioreactors. It is having two parts: a controller and a single-use bioreactor. The controller is in a controlling part of the single-use bioreactor. So the controller is compliant with most stringent standard of the automation industry, which is 21 CFR GAM5. The single-use part, which is the single-use bioreactor, is manufactured inside the clean room, class D clean room area, and it is also compliant with different testing set by the different regulatory bodies like biocompatibility, lactate tables, leachables, bacterial endotoxin, sterility. Everything is ensured at our site. So we have different scales like 0.5 liter to 200 liter, used in different applications like R&D to the commercial. So yeah, we are OmniBRx, a 6-year-old company, and we are engaged in development and manufacturing of single-use bioreactor technologies. The product, cell-bearer single-use bioreactor, is developed on robust and patented platform, which is dynamic bead reactor technologies. Our team is amalgamation.
1 minute, please, Anand. 1 more minute. Thank you.
Yeah, our team is amalgamation of technical and commercial experience of more than 60 years. So single-use bioreactor market is growing exponentially at $8.8 billion. So we have good facility footprint in India, and we want to be here after 2026. We have generated 1.1 million pound revenue in last year by installing more than 40 bioreactors in major global vaccine manufacturers like Serum Institute of India, Bharat.
I think we've lost Anand.
Anand, are you there?
We have a robust product pipeline, which is MiniBRx, a small-scale single-use high-throughput system for a monoclonal antibody industry. For BRS, world's largest single-use bioreactor system for the world. Weka Factory end-to-end integration of all the process of biologics manufacturing. We will be requiring 4.5 million pounds for development of international market and new product development. Let yourself witness world's first approach of limitless bioprocessing. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Anand. I like your finale there with the limitless bioprocessing. So over to our panelists again. So this time we'll start with Jim. Jim, have you got a question, please?
Thank you very much, Anand, for a great presentation. Can I just understand the fundamental of the technology? Are you able to do things in a 3-dimensional bulk liquid that competitive technologies can only do on a 2-dimensional surface? Is that the core of your technology?
Yes. So I have a short video. If you allow me, I can share you the technological video of the technology.
Okay, thank you.
So can you see my screen?
Yes. Yes, we can.
So this is the technology of the, this is IP value of the product, which is dynamic bead reactor technology. Yeah.
Okay, so it's a 3-dimensional. You're able to do it in the 3-dimensional bulk. That's the core.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Abhinav. Abhinav, are you there to ask a further question? Have you got anything you wish to ask of Anand?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry for that. So Anand, I would certainly want to understand what's been your go-to-market strategy, like in the last couple of years, because I interacted with Ravindra a couple of years back, when the company was at a very nascent stage of the journey. So would love to understand a bit on how you are targeting customers, which are the typical geographies that you're looking to get into.
Yeah, right now, how we generally operate, we pitch our technical presentation to the users like Serum Institute of India, which where we have installed almost 20 bioreactor systems. So we pitch them technically. We offer them a demo, a trial run of the batch, and they use our product in their process with different cell lines, and then they execute a batch and they generate a purchase order.
Okay. And which geographies are you targeting at this point of time?
Right now, we are targeting to enter in European and US markets. So because in India, we have a good footprint. We have installed many systems in India, but yeah, we are going to expand our footprint in Europe and US markets, because major market, almost 90% market of the single-use bioreactor is there in Europe and USA.
And Anand, can I ask about your vision of an exit for the business? In the laboratory equipment supplier market, who would be the target buyers of this technology in maybe 5 years' time or whatever time period? Who do you see as the A list of buyers?
Our buyers are developer and manufacturer of vaccine manufacturers, viral vectors manufacturer, biotherapeutics like monoclonal antibodies, and cell and gene therapy companies. So we are right now targeting all the upstream part, like these vaccines, viral vectors, and cell and gene therapy companies we are targeting right now.
Okay, and have you seen comparable transactions for companies that are a few years ahead of you that have sold into the market? Have you seen what kind of valuations are being paid, for what kind of revenues, and looked at comparable transactions?
Meaning you are asking for our company or other competitors?
Other companies a few years ahead of you.
Yeah, there are other competitors they have developed bioreactors, and they are generating the revenue, and they have good footprint. But because of USPs of the technology, what we are offering, we are far ahead than all our competitors. The revenue, we have a revenue models of the single bioreactors with different geometries. So if you want, I can share you the revenue of the single bioreactors of other competitors, and with respect to different area, like in USA, in Europe, how these bioreactors are expanding footprints, that their revenue is increasing, like that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Thank you very
thank
much,
you.
Anand. And thank you to our panelists for those incisive
Thank
questions.
you very much.
Thank you for giving the time. Right, let's move on. Next, I'd like to introduce Bala Pasala, who's the founder and chief exec of AYURVEDA. Bala, over to you. You've got 7 minutes, and I'll give you a 1-minute warning. Thank you.
Thanks, Martin. Thanks, everyone. I'm Dr. Bala, founder and CEO of AYURVEDA. I have a PhD from University of California, Berkeley, and more than 15 years of expertise in digital health and AI. First, I would like to share a personal motivation for starting this company. 8 years back, I was diagnosed with chronic gastritis. I went to the doctor, and he said, he did a bunch of tests and said, you have advanced stage of ulceritis. I said, what do I do? He said, first you stop eating spice. I was shocked. Being an Indian, how can I do that? He said, no, you have to stop eating spice, and you have to take this course of antibiotics for 3 weeks. Your disease will get cured. 3 years happened. I took 8 courses of antibiotics and nothing changed. So I lost all hope, then met an Ayurveda doctor 2 years back. He said he will cure my disease. I didn't believe it. But after 2 years, I can say for sure that Ayurveda has significantly cured my disease. Then I started thinking, how come this Ayurveda field is not well adopted internationally? The reason for this, we understand, is it still considers alternative medicine. And the way to break it is to bring in evidence and much more rigor into this field. That's how this company was started. This huge opportunity, as we can see that the current medicine is moving, 20th century medicine is moving from reactive care to highly personalized and proactive care. That's where the health and wellness market is going to increase dramatically in the future. Currently, $4 trillion is spent tantamount to healthcare spending. This is where we believe Ayurveda has unique potential because it can deliver health and wellness in a highly personalized and proactive way. The uniqueness of Ayurveda lies in first understanding the baseline of individuals, because every one of us is unique. So we first categorize people into 7 distinct phenotypes, and subsequently recommendations are given in terms of diet, supplements, yoga, meditation, etc. The initial target segment that we are looking at is young, urban believers of Ayurveda who also have exposure to yoga and meditation. They're very interested in health and wellness. They have a high propensity for taking natural products, also because they have reduced side effects. But the biggest challenge in this field, authentic Ayurveda health and wellness knowledge is not easily available. And a lot of OTC supplements that are available in the market, they're not personalized. And they also do not address health in a very holistic sense. And more importantly, the effectiveness of what medicines, OTC supplements I'm taking, nobody knows. So that's why it's very important to quantify the effectiveness of all these things. So this is where AI comes into picture. We have a saying, in God we trust, but everybody else must bring data. We are going to focus on evidence-based approaches for personalized health and wellness. We use Ayurveda principles, but we generate data from a combination of digital devices such as smartphones, which gives digital biomarkers. And we also take blood biomarkers, which gives biochemical and genomic markers, and use AI and machine learning techniques on this data collected to deliver highly personalized Ayurveda. We have filed 2 patents and 3 more in the pipeline. The first solution that we have developing is a conversational AI-driven chatbot. It has 2 components: a diagnostic engine, which does the baselining using conversational AI, and subsequently, personalized recommendations are given in terms of diet, supplements, yoga, meditation, etc. Ayurveda market, current Ayurveda market in health and wellness is more than $1 billion. Especially, we see a huge uptake and acceptance of Ayurveda post-COVID for preventive healthcare for obvious reasons. And more than 4 Ayurveda companies are valued at $1 billion. Going forward, we expect Ayurveda market share to increase significantly in the health and wellness segment, which also includes mindfulness. There are so many companies which are giving yoga and meditation apps. As I mentioned earlier, our initial focus segment is going to be young urban folks. There are more than 10 million users. We're also partnering with a lot of health and wellness international organizations who have 1 million users. Our competitors are iRhythm and Find My Health. Compared to these competitors, we use a unique data-driven approach that combines the inputs from digital biomarkers and blood biomarkers to deliver highly personalized Ayurveda. This is a core team comprising of myself. I have a business degree from Haas School of Business and a PhD from UC Berkeley. Our co-founder is Dr. Pratibhan, who has a PhD from AIMS. We're also advised by Professor Brahmachari, who is to report directly to the Prime Minister of India and is also pioneer in genomics. We also have advisor, Professor Shantanu. He is a pioneer in AI. We collaborate with various Ayurveda doctors. Since the company has started a year back, we have made significant progress. We have signed MOU with 3 hospitals and deployed the first version of the app. We have collected 1,000 Ayurveda patients' data and also raised 60,000 grant funding. Recently, we have signed an agreement with Maharshi Ayurveda. They're a global organization with both Indian and US presence. Some of you may have heard of Maharshi because they were the guru for Beatles.
1 minute,
Our business
please,
model is going to be
1 minute, please.
Business model is going to be a freemium model where there are basic recommendations that are given, and a premium model where comprehensive recommendations are given, including premium content. We also expect significant revenue from B2B partnerships. We partner with companies for nutraceuticals and diet. All in all, we expect 1 million paid customers generating a revenue of $100 million. Our acquisition strategy is going to be B2C play initially. We'll launch the app in the Google Play Store and have channel partners in terms of health and wellness foundations and also B2B partnerships. Roughly 60-40 split between B2C and B2B revenue. So we already have a soft commitment of 350K. We are looking for $1.5 million by the end of this year for both our Indian and US operations. I welcome you to join us in mainstreaming Ayurveda for the 21st century. The best medicine is the one that prevents the disease. I'll be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Bala, thank you very much for that. And thank you for giving the time. So over to our inquisitors. Abhinav, for you first, please.
Thanks, Bala, for the wonderful presentation. So my first question to you is, so how do you stack up against competition, right? Let's say what are the differentiator, or what's the USP that you have? Because I've personally interacted with a couple of these other companies that you have mentioned. So would love to learn a bit more about those things.
Sure. Thanks, Abhinav, for the question. So there are two main components that we are focusing on. One is getting the best out of your smartphone digital biomarkers. So we used advanced machine learning algorithms and AI algorithms to get a general understanding of the health and wellness. That's number one. And number two, we have trained it on more than 1,000 patients' data, which is not done by other companies. So that's why our data is more representative. In addition, going forward, we're also combining these digital biomarkers with blood biomarkers obtained using biochemical tests and also genome multiomics tests to provide highly personalized data-driven Ayurveda. The combination of these two data streams that are going to be our differentiator.
And when you intend to sort of expand to other geographies, do you also want to sort of do more tests there to acquire more data? Because eventually geographies would it would also enhance a lot of different aspects, right? And the habits and everything sort of changes, the body type, it sort of changes. So do you also want to do that? And which geographies are you currently targeting? Is it just India?
Yeah. So again, thanks for the question. We are partnering with Maharshi Ayurveda from US. That's one of the biggest organizations focused on health and wellness. I definitely agree with your point that this data stream that we are collecting, we have to have sufficient representation of all the geographies. So currently, Maharshi Ayurveda has more than 10,000 people who are associated with this organization. That's why I'm going to meet them early next month to discuss how we can deploy the app and have all the 10,000 users in this organization use it so that we can get the data points. And Maharshi Ayurveda also has identified stress-related genomic markers in the US, and that's the other partnership that we are looking for. Because they've been a bit far ahead in terms of identifying these specific genomic markers, which nobody has done in the world.
Okay, thank you. Over to you, Jim.
Bala, great. Thank you very much for a great presentation. Really interesting what you're working on. Can I just understand a little bit more about the data sets that you collect and then the algorithms that you're using to generate actionable recommendations? I just like to understand the data and the algorithms a bit more, please.
Sure. So the data is the input. So we do something called a 4-dimensional assessment using a conversational AI questionnaire. So that has questions related to your physiology, psychology, anatomy, and physical things. These are questions to start with. And in future, we're also integrating, computer vision technique where you can take a picture of a person and you can get some more phenotypic features. Mm-hmm. In addition to that, with the smartphone camera, we're collecting a pulse. So we use a deep learning technique on the pulse that is collected to identify the set of imbalances that occur in the body and also disease propensity. So this is called pulse diagnosis in Ayurveda. Typically, it is done manually. And that's where we are using smartphone. This is one set of data streams, digital biomarkers. The other set of data streams is biochemical markers. To give an example for stress-related markers, cortisol, epinephrine, and there are few transcriptome markers that were identified by our partners. So we anticipate that we'll collect the blood and combine the digital biomarkers and the biochemical genomic markers to understand what is the progression of each of the systems. In terms of personalized recommendations, Ayurveda has enough clinical knowledge. Once we phenotype people, there are recommendations for what diet they should take, what yoga meditation practices, what nutraceuticals they should take.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much to Bala for that presentation. And again, just in the interest of keeping us to time, we're going to move on, and I'd like to now welcome Janani Venkatraman, who's the co-founder and chief exec of Biomoneta Research. So Janani, over to you. You got 7 minutes.
Thank you so much. Are you folks able to hear me? Hello, are you folks able to hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, thanks so much, Sylvie. Thank you all for taking the time to come and listen to us telling our story today. My name is Janani. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Biomoneta. I have a background in infection drug discovery. I used to work for AstraZeneca, where we tried to build novel antibiotics, bad bugs, good drugs for bad bugs, as the saying goes. Where the focus was entirely therapy. But somewhere along the way, we realized that especially if multi-drug resistance is going to be an incredibly important feature in delivering healthcare, then preventing these infections, both in the clinic as well as the community, become incredibly important. And that's where Biomoneta actually comes in. All of us has known somebody who's gone to hospital for something pretty routine, but picked up an infection there, maybe even a multi-drug resistant one, and had either fatal consequences or at the very least had a very long and expensive hospital stay. Or we've known people who've had chronic conditions, for example, cancer or diabetes or kidney disease, all of which result in very low immunity, and hence these folks suffer from repeated infections. And in both these situations, prevention is absolutely critical. We decided to focus on air because in hospital settings today, there's already an extensive focus on surface disinfection and hand hygiene, but air is actually quite ignored. And if you look at what people do today, as I mentioned already, there's a huge focus on surface disinfection as well as hand hygiene, which don't affect airborne microbes at all. If people think about what kind of infections are actually spread by the air and what they can do for it, they might use air filters or think of HVAC systems, but all of these are only able to trap microbes, and destruction or germicidal technologies are incredibly important if infection prevention is the end goal, especially when you're talking about, especially now that we are in a somewhat post-pandemic era. In situations where people have looked at germicidal technologies, they've tried to use UV or fumigation techniques, all of which are harmful to individuals and require rooms to be evacuated. And this is where Biomoneta actually comes in. We've built a medical grade air sterilization device, a technology which we call the Z-Box. And this is a technology that has actually tried to make up for most of the defects that I spoke to you about previously. This is an innovative technology on which we have patent applications filed. Very happy to take you through the core of the technology subsequently if there is interest. But let me just tell you that today, as compared to our closest competitor, we're probably 10 times more effective and can very confidently say we're probably the most advanced air decontamination technology in the world. And we're also able to provide the technology at about 1/10 the cost of some of these competitors. We've shown, working both internally as well as with third-party certified bodies, that the tech is able to provide protection from a wide range of pathogens, be they bacteria or viruses or fungi and spores. And these include really hard to handle pathogens like SARS-CoV-2, which causes COVID-19, or Mycobacterium tuberculosis, which causes TB. I think one of our biggest differentiators is the amount of time we have actually worked in the real world. We've done clinical studies over the past couple of years, some of which have even been published in peer-reviewed journals. And today we are able to show that this protection can be offered in the context of a hospital, say a hospital of ICU or a doctor's clinic. Because again of the unique situation we are in, we are today providing service even in places like hospital offices and schools and so on and so forth. A little different from the original ask. These are devices which are meant to be used by people, placed besides patient bedsides, to be used in patient rooms, and to be used continuously. And hence it was very important to show that they're safe for human use, no toxic gases are emitted or radiation, and devices that are CE certified. incredibly easy to use, plug and play devices with near zero maintenance, very low energy costs. Today, I mean, you could run probably 2 LED bulbs on the amount of energy these devices actually use. We provide the technology in the form of 2 device variants, but this is just so that we have device variants to provide the customer with. The tech itself is extremely flexible and can pair with multiple other technologies and be integrated with other air handling systems as well. We went to market, we went commercial in the middle of last year, and over the past 6 to 9 months, we've sold about 120 devices. And the way we sell these devices is to actually go to the customer site and show a before and after. And what you see out there is actually some of our real life deployments, along with the list of some of our customers. Since we just entered market about 6 months or so back, we still have an evolving business model where we are in what we call phase 1, where we show that the market is actually capable of accepting technology like this, and we do this by either selling directly or selling via distributors or sector-specific channels. So, for example, we work with cancer hospitals to deliver via the hospital devices to patients, and by these means, we've had approximately $50,000 worth of sales. And we're also now exploring rental models in partnership with the home care providers, although that is still in the early phases. In phase 2, what we would ideally like to do is to see how we can quickly access scale, but still control supply of IP components. We are in advanced negotiations with a large D2C air purification company, but the idea is that we will sell IP-specific or technology-specific modules to them, which they will then integrate in air treatment systems, and we are able to explore a large market scale via such a partner. Ultimately, of course, we'd like to be licensing technology to strategic partners. And we started thinking about this more and more because a tech like this finds application not only in healthcare, but a bunch of other areas. And it's very difficult for a small startup to influence multiple markets.
1 minute, please, Janani.
Thank you. I'm almost done, actually. A team with over 100 years of experience in infection, biology, engineering, as well as technology sales. Very proud to be advised by a stellar advisory board headed by the ex-Director General of the Indian Council of Medical Research. We are in an ecosystem which has provided us not only grant funding, but we raised our first seed round in the middle of 2020. Via a seed and bridge round, we have so far raised close to about $1 million. And over the next year, we're really seeking to raise about $5 million in order to basically unlock the market potential, including global markets, as well as build Gen 2 products. But one of the things I wanted to specifically sort of bring up today is that strategic go-to-market partnerships are absolutely critical for Biomoneta, and I'm hoping this is a forum via which I might be able to discover some of them in addition to investors. Thank you so much for your time. I'm very happy to take questions now.
Okay, Janani, thank you very much for that. And I must say I'm pleased to see that you can see the wider applications for your technology, because certainly air quality in all sorts of buildings is becoming much more of an issue, certainly in the UK, and I would suggest across the globe as well. But let me hand over to our panelists now. So Jim, we'll start with you this time, please.
Janani, thank you very much for a great presentation. Can I ask, are you using ultraviolet light as your sterilization technology?
Oh, we are not, if I might. Because we were actually trying to move away with problems in known technology. This is a brand new tech. There's no UV. There are no filters. Filters can always be added, of course, especially coarse filters. And there's no ionization or plasma generation as well. The core of the tech is a series of active surfaces and electronic smart airflow design, which allows for low energy consumption, as well as electronics which allow you to trap microbes from free-flowing air and bring them to the surfaces where they might subsequently be destroyed.
Okay, so how do you actually destroy them on the surfaces? Is this an electric process?
if you don't mind, if I just walk through the tech, if I have a minute or two. So what you see out here is actually the insides of the tech itself, and you can see a series of parallel plates. Now, air with microbes actually flows in the channels between the plates, and it flows freely, unlike in filter-based technologies where you have to punch through dense media. And this is a representation of what happens between two plates. You have air with all sorts of microbes, and all microbes are characterized by a property called the zeta potential. And this is very similar for the entire spectrum of microbes. And the consequence of the zeta potential is there are naturally occurring charges on the surface, and you can use a non-ionizing specially designed electric field to make the microbes actually land on these surfaces. But there is no electrification as part of the actual kill. The surface has a proprietary chemical moiety, which finally actually lyses the microbes and causes cell destruction.
So it's a chemical approach on the surface.
It's finally a chemical approach, yes. But if you took these plates outside the context of the device, they wouldn't actually work. They have to be catalyzed in situ. So the chemistry is actually potentiated in situ to become germicide.
Okay, and once you've killed the microbes and you've mineralized their chemistry or just broken them down into smaller parts, how does that chemistry then get flushed out of the system to give you a fresh surface again?
So we actually have, the surfaces are sort of three-dimensional in nature, and today the devices that we provide have been probably significantly over-designed. So we've had, so once the microbes are lysed, the debris actually aggregates and stays embedded in the matrix, which is the surface, but there is enough chemistry out there to go for over 2 years. We've now had devices running in ICUs of tertiary care hospitals which have completely full ICUs, see thousands of patients every day, and the tech's still working fine.
Okay, all right, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Abhinav.
Thank you. Thanks for the presentation. So just a quick question. So when you're targeting hospitals, we see a lot of downtime with respect to operation theaters or when contamination is there. So what do you see as a typical downtime, and how do you sort of how does your technology help these hospitals in that case?
So the places where the downtime is most critically handled is in ICUs. I mean, as you know, especially Indian ICUs are multi-bed ICUs, and it's very often they don't actually have isolation rooms. So in places like this, because you don't have downtime, you're not actually able to do proper terminal cleaning, which is a cause for a lot of cross-contamination and infection. So devices like these can actually help in that process, because it overall reduces the environmental load and hence reduces the dependence on sort of on this cleaning process. What we've also seen is that we've been able to help hospitals convert, a single bed in an ICU into on-the-fly isolation zone, if you will. Today, we are not in OTs as yet, Abhinav. There is a regulatory process for that, and we're working our way through that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Janani. I must say I'm always impressed by those presenters who take the opportunity of the question session to extend their own presentations and go back into the PowerPoint or introduce new PowerPoint slides. So always impressive, and we've seen a couple of those this morning, so thank you very much. Right, now last but by no means least, we have Sai Prasad Poyarekar, who's the Chief Executive of Pacify Medical Technologies. So Sai Prasad, over to you. You've got 7 minutes, and I'll give you a 1-minute warning. Thank you. Yeah, we can see your screen. Thank you.
We are working on a medical device for the skin spray gun. This will help us plastic surgeons use in our program.
Sai Prasad.
We have a problem with the sound.
We can't hear. We can see your screen, but we're not. We're struggling to hear you properly.
Hello?
Okay.
Hello. Am I audible now?
That's better, Cypress said. Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're okay for time. So we'll give you your 7 minutes starting from now. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. So I'd like to present a story of Professor Banerjee, who spent like 4 months in the hospital. Injured in early days. It is a post-op process for getting harvester scheme.
Cypress, sorry, this is we're not hearing you very clearly. Is there anything you can do with your sound?
Can you give me like a next slot of I can check the audio.
Cypress, there's a lot of background interference on the voice.
I think we can, yeah, we can.
Should we either break early, or we can bring forward one of the others and try and sort out?
Sorry, what we're going to do is give Prasad 1 minute to sort the sound,
Okay.
because we have people just coming and joining at the exact time for the second session.
Understand.
So if everybody can just bear with us 1 minute, we try to have a better sound system. And if not, we will add him at the end of session 2. So
we are good for time in terms of
Yeah.
the agenda, everybody. So if you can just bear with us, thank you for your patience. I think we're doing well when you consider this is a global event. So well done to the team so far.
he's going to try to rejoin.
Okay, thank you, Sylvie.
Whilst we're waiting, to the investors in the rooms, I've put a few notes in the chat. Do contact me if you want to meet the companies that you've heard earlier, or the ones who are going to pitch later. We can organize a meeting later after this session, or we can do it at a later stage. So the best way is to contact me or to fill the Google form I put in the chat. Sai, can you try again? I can see you in the room now. You're on mute.
Okay, thank you very much, Sylvie, and welcome back, everybody, and thank you for bearing with us through that slight technical glitch. So we've taken an early break. I hope you've all refilled your coffee or tea cups, and now what we're going to do is hear from the last of the first session's presentations from Sai, and then I'll hand over to Sam Goodall, who's going to take us through the second session. So, Sai, welcome back to you. We hope we've sorted out the technical glitch. If you'd like to do your presentation, please, in 7 minutes. I'll give you a minute warning, and then we'll finish up with the questions from the panelists. Sai, over to you.
Sure, thank you. May I know when to begin?
Yes, you can start.
Yeah, fine. I'm Cypress from Pacify Medical Technologies. We are developing a skin spray gun, a surgical device for plastic surgeons to treat large burn wounds with the limited healthy skin of the same patients. I'd like to present a story of Professor Dan Arley, who spent like 4 months in the hospitals after he was injured through a burn accident in his early days. And one of the experience was experience of that was the prolonged hospitalizations for the treatment. Until today, the treatment has not changed. It's a painful, lengthy, and expensive process. Where a surgeon harvests a large sheet of skin from the same patients. After harvesting the skin using dermatomes, he passes into skin measures, mesh the skin, and finally stitch it on the wounds. And the meshing and stretching of the skin is called as skin expansion. The procedure time is around 90 minutes. The healing time takes roughly 30 days. The hospital data for a 40% burns shows that it takes hospitalization of around 2 months with 579,000 as a cost of treatments. And if wounds are not transplanted on time, especially on joints, it can give rise to contractures, and that can give rise to permanent disabilities, and human hand may look like this. To overcome these challenges, we developed 2 devices: a skin mincing device, which is used for mincing of the skin graft, and then the spraying of the skin graft using a skin spray gun. And for our solution of skin spraying, which is easy, effective, and faster, we just need a stamp size skin of around 5 centimeters square. So first we harvest it using a standard dermatomes in the market. Then we mince it into small pieces using the skin mincing device, and then we spray that skin on the wounds using the skin spray gun. We get a better expansion this. And on the right hand side, you can see some of the images from our pilot trials using our device in the surgeries, where the patient was healed off, was spraying the skin and without the stitches which are required with the current skin grafting. So the current skin grafting, as I explained in the beginning slide, it takes the skin expansion is limited, procedure time is long, and healing time is also longer, and it should be done 2 to 3 times depending on the surgery size, wound size. But with the skin spray, we get a better expansion, shorter procedure time, and faster healing. And then there is a savings of the patient donor skin, a quicker procedure and faster healing, and that helps to reduce bed day of care. And transplanting the whole surgery instead of multiple surgery and into a single surgery, and that helps to save resources for the hospitals. Comparing with the competitors, currently we have better expansion ratio, shorter procedure times, able to cover a larger area with a minimum healing time, and without need of multiple stage surgeries at an affordable price. And today in India, we have got a regulatory permissions. A patent has been granted, another patent has been filed in India and US, and one more provisional patent is currently, we are in the steps of filing it. And we first in human study completed. We have got orders from hospitals now, and currently in the process of completing the clinical trials and ISO certification safety testings. Global market for burns is huge, like 6 billion people, 6 billion market with 9 million people suffering burns annually and spend 1 to 3 months in the hospitals. And our the starting area is India, then Asia Pacific and global. Our customers are plastic surgeon, burn care hospitals, and armed forces. We plan to reach to B2B channel partners. The revenue model is a highly profitable, targeting the value-based pricing on significant cost saving for the device and the disposable. And we have 2 disposables in the device. One is for the gun and the other is for the mincing device. So we are a team of engineers having experience in biomedical. My co-founder brings an experience of product, and Ryan brings an experience of design and manufacturing. The technical advisors and medical advisors has vast experience of the field, helped us in the development and taking the product to the market. I plan to start with Maharashtra, where you are located, and then Tier 1 cities and India expansion.
1 minute, please, Sai.
Yeah, fine. You already raised 190,000 from grants, and you're now seeking 140,000 to complete the clinical trials in India and start with the pilot sales. Planning to have a Series A funds in 2024. But today I need your support to bring this revolutionary technology to the market so that next Dan does not suffer. And at Pacify Medical, we are improving burn care outcomes for both patients and hospitals. Thank you.
Sai, thank you very much indeed, and thank you for keeping to time. It looks like our two panelists are still with us, so Abhinav, just ask you to open the questions for Sai.
Thanks, Sai, for the presentation. Sai, do you want to expand on like a bit more on the competition side of things? And also, if like we have seen a couple of companies which are focusing on, let's say, spray guns for wounds, right? Or trying to expand into that market. So is that something which you guys also want to focus on, or is that something which you guys can also look at in the future?
Fine. First about the competition side. So the currently what is used in India on large scale is the skin grafting techniques or skin meshing technique, as I explained. So that is a thing. And on the technology side, the other side is using artificial skin techniques, where artificial skin is regenerated in the lab and then it is transferred on the wounds. So these are the two things. And talking about other devices in the wounds, and our idea is to focus on wounds for like especially the large surface wounds and burns, and moving on to trauma and vitiligo.
Okay, thank you. Jim, over to you for any questions if you're still with us.
Thanks, Martin. Sai, thank you for a great talk. I just wanted to understand where your intellectual property was. Is it concentrated in the collection, the preparation, or the delivery system with your technology?
Fine. We have two patents. One is for preparation and other is for delivery of the systems. So we have a granted patent for the delivery, and for the preparation we have filed that patent for.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, right. Well, thank you very much. If there's no further questions from the panelists, I'd like to say thank you to Sai, and indeed to all of our presenters this morning. I think that's got us off to a terrific start. We've managed to see or listen to all of the presentations in the end, so thank you very much. As Sylvie has already indicated, if any of the investors in the room wish to organize meetings, you can do that through Sylvie and through the mechanisms that she's already described in the chat box. So that's enough from me. That's the first session completed. I'm now going to hand over to Sam Goodall, who you heard from earlier. Sam's the head of international projects at Cambridge Cleantech. And Sam, over to you to take us through this second session. And I think we're handing over on time. So over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin, and thanks everybody for this morning's session. So straight into session two. I think we all know pretty much the drill by now. I'd like first just to give an opportunity for the two panel members to introduce themselves. So that's Prem Barthasarathi from Pontac and Adil Chitawala from Peak Sustainability Ventures.
Hi, should we go first?
Yeah, great.
Yeah, go ahead. All right, thanks. Hi, this is Prem Barthasarathi from Pontac, managing partner. We are a UK-India technology fund headquartered in the UK, investing into technology businesses on either side of the corridor, been in operations from 2015 and recently debuted into India with a $100 million fund. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Prem. And Adil?
Right, thanks, Anne. So at Peak, we're a sustainability-focused fund as well, based in Mumbai. We're actually one of India's first pure sustainability funds, focusing across energy, water, climate, and agriculture. We're predominantly looking at companies in seed, pre-A and Series A, and we do focus on India, but we also look at opportunities outside the country that have an India picture attached to them in some way. Looking forward to during the different sessions. Thanks for having me.
Brilliant. Thank you, Adil. That's great. Okay, so without further ado, if I could invite Harish from Agnit Semiconductors to bring forward his presentation.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hi, Harish. Over to you.
Thank you, Sam. Can you see my screen?
Yes. So now it's in presentation mode. So ready when you are.
Okay, great. All right. So thank you all very much for the opportunity. My name is Harish Chandrasekhar. I'm the co-founder and COO of Agnit Semiconductors. Agnit Semiconductors works on gallium nitride semiconductors. And I suppose the way to begin is why is gallium nitride even important in today's world, right? So if you take a look at wireless base station radios worldwide, so this is the the particular electronics unit that gives your cell phone a signal. So these are pretty power hungry, and they consume high amounts of power at high frequency. And worldwide, they consume as much power in the year as it would take to power the entire country of India for 7 days, right? So similarly, if you take a look at what's going on in the two-wheeler space, if you could magically snap your fingers and convert all the 56 million two-wheelers which are present in India to electric two-wheelers.
Harish, could you kindly slow down a bit, if it's okay?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
So if you could convert all the two-wheelers in India today into electric two-wheelers, the amount of energy that you would require to actually power them would be equivalent to India's entire electricity consumption over 1 day. Okay, and there's not much that you could have done about it so far. Okay, so but the shift to next generation wireless base stations and the shift to next generation charging systems means that you could actually go into this electronic system and make one component 10% more efficient, let's say in the 5G space. Let's say you can make one component 3% more efficient in the two-wheeler charger. That effectively you'd save enough power to power the UK for 10 days. Okay, so this is the magnitude of energy savings that gallium nitride technology will bring about. So let's take a step back and examine this opportunity space a bit more, right? So if you look at the two broad trends that have been going on in wireless communication and in personal mobility over the last 20 years, right? In terms of wireless communication, we went all the way from 2G to 3G to 4G LTE, right? In terms of personal mobility, we've gone from internal combustion engines to the very beginnings of an electric vehicle revolution. Yeah. So, and I should point out that all of this has been enabled by silicon-based electronics so far. Okay. But over the next 10 to 15 years, these industries are going to be dominated by the shift to 5G. They're going to be dominated by the complete adoption of EVs, which requires fast charging technology. And this also means that the electronic systems that are being used need to undergo a step change. So this is not an incremental advance. And the key components in both of these spaces are going to be based on gallium nitride as a semiconductor material of choice. Okay. In fact, if you have a fast charger at home today, you have a commercial product with a gallium nitride chip in it, right? Okay, so what are the problems with gallium nitride technology? So the primary one is access to technology. You need specialized know-how and expertise. Gallium nitride is a semiconductor of tomorrow. There are currently a handful of global open GaN foundries, by which I mean these are foundries at which if you are a system manufacturer, you can go and get GaN made, right? So it's still a very up and coming space. And most gallium nitride is export controlled technology. While you may be able to buy systems, you can't buy the components themselves that easily, okay? So the customer pain point here is that they need faster iterative design and manufacture cycles, and you also need secure and reliable supply chains, right? The other major point is that you need integrated design and manufacturing expertise. So you need a step change in the way that electronic systems are designed. You can't merely take a PCB with a silicon component on it and replace that with a gallium nitride part and expect it to work. It wouldn't work. So in an ideal world, you want to co-design subsystems and components, and there's a trade-off in terms of performance, footprint, and price that you need to keep in mind. And what customers need in this space are to work with design and manufacturing partners with gallium nitride expertise. In terms of the solutions, yeah, so this is where Agnit comes in. Agnit designs and manufactures gallium nitride-based electronic components. We anticipate making revenues from the manufacture and sale of these components. Secondly, Agnit has proven expertise all across the value chain, all the way from starting materials to processes to devices to subsystems. So we aim to deliver co-designed bespoke GaN components, which can be designed into solutions at the system manufacturer's end. And we anticipate that this co-design will also give rise to licensing revenues from this systems and circuit IP that we are able to generate. In terms of the products themselves, so key inputs to our products starts with the material. So right now you need, what you see on the top image there is actually a wafer with a gallium nitride thin film grown on it. This in and of itself is pretty specialized and hard to do. What you see at the bottom is actually a gallium nitride wafer, the same wafer that you see on top, which with a few transistors that have been fabricated. Each of those gray squares that you see is one device that you can cut up and sell. And I should point out that you require more than 50 unit process steps just to go from what you see on the top to the bottom at a minimum. So what is it that we make? So if you actually zoom into some of those gray squares, what you'll see is something like this. So this is an initial product for a 5G radio. It's a GaN radio frequency device, okay? And what you see at the bottom is, again, if you zoom into one of those gray squares, and if it's a power device product, you'll see something like this. So this is a GaN power device, which is a product for onboard two-wheeler EV chargers. In terms of the technology roadmap, we commenced development in January 2021. We had a lab scale proof of concept technology, and we now have working prototypes that we've developed over the last year and so. So what we anticipate is that by Q1 2023, we will have Agnit GaN devices commencing field tests at customers' 5G testbeds. Similarly, in Q1 of 2024, Agnit GaN devices will commence field tests in customers' evaluation boards for onboard chargers in two-wheeler space. Okay. So if you look at the market scope of these components, the worldwide demand for gallium nitride components in 2024 annualized is expected to be about $2 billion. This is just the GaN components alone for 5G radios. If you look at the EV chargers, GaN for EV chargers is expected to be $0.5 billion in 2024 annualized. At the same time, let me point out that RF semiconductor revenues in total are going to be $20 billion in 2024. Similarly, power device semiconductor market is going to be $40 billion in 2024. And GaN is going to take an ever-expanding share of that, which is what these CAGR numbers indicate. I should also point out that the attraction for people to work is that gallium nitride is a platform technology. So if you make subsystems with gallium nitride technology,
1 minute,
you're going to make at least 10 times the revenue. Sorry?
1 minute remaining.
Oh, great. Okay, thanks. So in terms of competitive advantages, we have access to differentiated technology, which has been developed at the Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, over 15 years of know-how. Our team has more than 100 years of expertise in the semiconductor value chain, and we're a group of scientists and technologists based out of the IISc. We offer co-design systems and components. Our current development is being done in close collaboration with customers, with seven potential customers across both of these product spaces. In terms of manufacturing scale-up, we have access to a $40 million pilot production line, which is coming up here. And this should de-risk our supply chain and offer volume visibility to our customers. In terms of the road ahead, we are here to seek funding of $3 million. We are looking to raise a $3 million seed fund, which will help take our prototypes through a field testing stage to an actual design win stage over the next 24 months. And we've already raised $1.3 million from angel investors in 2020, which is what has funded our technology development efforts so far. We currently have a team of 6 on the ground developing technology, apart from the founders who you saw earlier. So I'll leave it here. Thank you very much.
Brilliant. Thank you, Harish. Perfectly on time. So a little round of applause. Okay, great. So I'll hand straight across to the panel for questions. So Prem, if you could go first.
Yeah, Harish, thank you very much. Interesting tech. I'm struggling to understand whether you're an engineering company or a product company. Who are you?
We are a product company. We do not offer engineering as a service.
But
So
you mentioned
product,
something about the consultancy and your co-creation and so on and so forth, because I'm still trying to understand what your product is, because I'm confused between slides 3 and 4, I think.
I see. So let's go back there. If you take a look at what's going on here, what you see on the left is the input. So at the stage of technological maturity that GaN is currently at, it's very difficult to actually design devices and have them made elsewhere and expect the same level of performance. So what you see on the left, in terms of the materials, in terms of the differentiated process IP that we have, this is all inputs. Okay. And what you see on the right are our products. So if you take this wafer that I'm showing you on the left here, you can see my pointer, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, you take each of these gray squares, you can slice and dice them and put them in a package. That's our product. And there are going to be 2 of them.
But is it correct? But is this product your IP, or is it something you're doing it on behalf of somebody else?
We're not doing this on behalf of somebody else. The development necessarily needs to be done in consultation. So our IP falls under 3 buckets. One is the materials part that you've just seen here. One is the process IP part, which is differentiated know-how for the most part. And one is the device design part. And we have IP in all 3 spheres. So what we can do is that we can take top level, let's say customer specs. Let's say somebody wants to make a device that's 5% more efficient, okay? But they wouldn't know how to redesign this particular device that you see here on your screen in order to get there, right? So we do that for them. So at the end of the day, the specification is going to come from the customer, but this design, the way that this is designed, the way that this is laid out, the way that the steps are put together, the way that the starting material is changed, maybe to give you this 5% extra. So they are a tightly coupled bunch at present. And our IP is all across 3 buckets: the materials, the processes, and the design.
Okay.
Did I answer that?
Okay. Yes. I think this warrants a longer conversation. We'll take it offline.
Sure.
Thanks, Prem. Adil.
Yeah, thanks, Prem. That was one of the questions I had as well. But just to kind of stay on the slide, Hari, first of all, thanks for the presentation. Help me kind of understand. So, I know you mentioned that you've got traction with, as the slide shows, with all radios, as well as what two-wheeler EVs are doing, as well as you've got a plan for a production plant. Help me kind of understand the difference in setup and tech kind of required to service both of these technologies, and kind of, how do you see that when you'll have the plant set up?
Right. Okay. So let me take the manufacturing part first. So if we go back here and talk about the pilot production line. So this is an incubator that's coming up at the Indian Institute of Science as we speak. It should be up in the next 6 to 12 months based on availability of equipment and things like that. Agnit is incubated at this facility. So we have preferential access to this facility, and it's a pay-for-use service. Okay, so we're going to pay a facility rent, and we're going to use the facility to scale up our manufacturing. Okay, in terms of the product space itself, so we have two. Gallium nitride, I should mention, is baseline technology. You can use it for absolutely everything, starting from LEDs to radars to the applications that I've spoken about. We see that there's customer interest based on conversations that we've had. We've been approached to actually try and see if we can get components for these 2 particular areas. One of them is 5G radios. The other is two-wheeler EV chargers. And the reason that there's a lot of interest in this space is that there's some kind of value chain disaggregation going on in both of these spaces. So what do I mean by that? If you look at what happens in the 4G space, right? You could go and buy an entire base station solution from Huawei or from Ericsson or from ZTE, one of those players. But it turns out that in 5G, you do have ORAN, which is Open Radio Access Network. So which means that the standards are going to be fixed. The hardware components are going to be fixed. The interfaces are going to be fixed. Okay. And then the question is, who's going to supply gallium nitride to these markets? So there's going to be more of a democratization of components and hardware in this case. You wouldn't have to buy the entire solution from Ericsson, say. Okay. So that's what's going on in the 5G space. Again, in terms of the two-wheeler EV charging space, there are a lot of people who are trying to come up with reference designs for EV chargers, because there is no EV charging standard as of yet, right? So, and then the question is, especially for onboard chargers, that footprint is really key. Gallium nitride is indispensable. It's probably the only way to do it. Okay. And the question is, there are a lot of players here currently, even in India, as opposed to worldwide, who are building, let's say, two-wheeler EV chargers, onboard EV chargers. This includes manufacturers. This includes people who just want to design subsystems, right? And we talk to both kinds of players in order to see how we can make a GaN solution to suit their needs. And again, when I say solution, just to be very clear, we are not offering design as a service. We offer the product. We sell the product. Okay. We sell the chip, if you will.
Brilliant. Thank you,
Harish.
Harish. Thanks very much. Okay. Thank you for that excellent, really interesting presentation. And so moving swiftly on, I'll ask Sophia if you can load up your slides and we'll get going. Hi, Sophia, are you?
Hi. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Yes.
Can you share your slides,
Okay.
Sophia?
Are you ready to go, Sophia?
Shall I go?
Yes, sorry. Yeah, yes, please. Yep.
I thought that you will. Sorry. So is it visible?
It is. Yeah. So ready when you are.
Yeah. So shall I start?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So respected all the jury members and investors, a very good afternoon to each and everyone. And I'm very thankful to all of you to giving this opportunity. I'm Dr. Sufia Khan, founder and the director of the Drumlins Water Technologies Private Limited. We are mainly working in the area of affordable and sustainable water solutions. And Drumlins was established in 2019 to make the India a fluoride-free country in the next 3 to 5 years. From this slide, I would like to take you 17 years back when I joined my workplace, which is situated at fluoride endemic zone. What I observed the people over there, many young people, and especially the young children, has to go through the dental and skeletal process and has to go through the knee replacement due to the excess amount of the fluoride in the drinking water. And the place where I belong, that more than 45 lakh people, and in India around 60 million people severely suffered from the problem of fluoride contamination. It is caused by the fluorosis problem caused by the excess of the amount of fluoride in the drinking water, and it causes a loss of teeth, deformed teeth, and the twisted legs, as well as the twisted spine too, and the overall productivity of the young people has getting reduced by the 30%. More than over the half of the groundwater sources in the India have severely just hold on. Yeah, so half of the groundwater sources in India have fluoride above recommended levels, and globally around 200 million people severely suffered from fluorosis problem. And this problem is endemic in at least 25 countries. I have observed this personally a very big problem, as my own daughter Sami suffered from the problem of the dental fluorosis, despite of it that we have a very good water purification system from the day one when she was born. So there is an unmet need that has to be urgently solved. So Drumlins proposed a solution. First is the smart universal defluoridation nanorod equipped with the sensors, and it has come up to the TRL 7 stage, and it has been protected by 5 patents and have made the design so complex that it cannot be copied by the different market players. We have gone through the different stages, and luckily all our product prototype from the 200 ml capacity to the 5 liter capacity. Then according to the customer needs, now we are at the stage of the 500 liter capacity water tanks that it removes the fluoride. Now the final prototype, according to the customer needs, we have designed a single point of water purification system that not only removes the fluoride, but also the arsenic, iron, and gives the pure water at their doorstep on the at their point of use. So what is the problem with the fluoride that cannot be solved by existing players and government efforts? So fluoride is a double-edged sword, because it requires in our body for like 1.5 mg per liter, but its excess amount is very toxic. And most of the existing technologies are like targeting only the bound fluoride, not the free fluoride and the ionic fluoride. And the ionic fluoride size is so small that it can pass through the membrane size also. And there is no technology available in the market that can maintain the level of the fluoride and can give a like affordable and the single point of use system. So our technology removes both the bound and the free fluoride, and it is affordable, and our technology do not require water and electricity for the operations. Our technology is fully sustainable. The process we have designed, it is easy to maintain and simple to install. It is single point of use, and it is sensor equipped, portable and user friendly. And the most important thing, we have incorporated the regenerations of the utilized nanomaterials for increasing the shelf life as well as to improve the sustainability. So the existing solution I have already explained that are expensive and do not remove bound fluoride and required electricity and the water for operations. So what is the opportunity? Said the Indian government has already committed the 46.67 billion USD on Ghar Ghar Jal scheme of the ministry to provide the safer drinking water, included the 27 billion USD for 1240 defluoridation units in the first 4 villages. That you can see that in the upcoming time, like there is an urgent need for our defluoridation devices. And these fluoride defluoridation units could be used at the water tanks. As I already told you, according to the customer needs, we have designed for the water tanks too, and water ATMs at railways, gram panchayat, schools, municipal corporations, agriculture sectors, universities, and hospitals too. And there is also opportunities to grow our business in the other countries who are severely suffered from the fluoride contaminations, like these South African countries. This is the team. I am the founder and director of this company. I am the Chimney and Gibbs Fellow of the University of Oxford. I have 17 years of experience in the fluoride and the water research currently, and have experience to raise the 10 million, like 10 crores of the fundings as an for our R&D purpose. So I have a strong technical background. My co-founder is from the business side. She is looking for the business development, project cycles, and the sales channels. We are the group of the diverse and the passionate people who belongs not only for the different nanomaterial synthesis, but different area of the water. We have a small team related to the business like marketing and the MP people. And now we are constantly want to improve our team in the area of the business. So this is our roadmap. In the 2001, as per our all the plan, we have validated our product in the 200 houses of the Banasli to the different grants. We have already raised to the different R&D grants for the company. And in 2022, we have launched the first nano filter for the fluoride removal, and 2 patents have already submitted. We are at this fundraising to the angel investors, and in 2023 we will launch our second product, which is a big market like the 500 million users, that not only removes fluoride but it also the heavy metals via the B2B target channels. And then third is the fluoride monitoring cloud-based platform in the 2024, and the company captured the international market in the 2024. The traction we have achieved, that our first product we have already launched in the Banasli villages, and we got very exciting results. And till date we have raised the 130K from the different agencies, and a letter of intent from the 2 water companies to invest the 10 million INR in our production facilities. We have patented 6 patents, and many national and international awards we got for our technology. So our business model for our first product, like phase 1 2022, B2B sales of the smart universal nano rods, that is consumables, and refurbishment of spent rods, and licensing of our technology for the fluoride free tea. In phase 2 2023, second generation filter to remove the other contaminants with the fluoride and the other heavy metals too. And the phase
if I could ask
2024,
you to finish.
Yeah, I'm just right. Fluoride monitoring as a service with license to access the cloud-based analytics platform and the associate data. And our marketing strategy that first market in India to the selected B2B partners and the brands. And we will licensing our fluoride monitoring as a service to the Ministry of Water, and then company will then expand internationally. So our projections will be like in 2022-23 is the 270K USD, and I have to put this information on the basis of their different business partners, LOI and other commitments. And year 2, I will double this this USD. So by the end of the 3 year, we will achieve the revenue of around the 800K USD with a net profit margin of the 20%. And my ask is like 170K USD to set up our initial nanorod production facility and improvement, and establish channels to the market and recruitment of the key staff members. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sophia.
Join hands with me to provide, to make a the company's vision to make the India fluoride-free country. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sophia. Sorry to have to rush you there a little bit. Great, fantastic presentation. I will hand straight over to Adil.
Thanks, Sam. Thank you, Sophia, for the presentation. Just going back to the project that you'll have already launched, curious on, who the, sorry, yeah, just could you go a slide ahead? The project that you mentioned about the 4 villages. Yeah, just curious on who the customer is. Are you selling to the government and
this one?
No, earlier one, but it's all right. You can just answer, like, who's the customer for starters? Secondly, so number 1, who's the customer? Number 2, how does it kind of compare in terms of cost to other technologies out there? Because, fluoride filtration is a big problem, especially in India. And we have seen a number of companies that are already solving this at varying price points with, like some going directly to the end user, some kind of like coming in much earlier. So where do you kind of really see this all fitting out?
So,
that,
so we will, our customers will be the B2B partners. So whatever we have identified 3 or 4 clients, and from them I get the letter of intent. So these are in the water manufacturing tanks, and they have a very huge supply channels and the network in the Northeast, and crores and 700 to 800 crores revenue channels of it. So we are making in the business partnership with that. So we will launch our product through them to the different customers. So I will not go directly to the customers. I will go to the B2B. So Servo Limited and Topline brands and other different companies I have already identified. So I will not directly applying into the governments, but these people have already got the grant and they want my defluoridation unit. So these will be my customer first. So I will get the like 20 million INR, 20 million USD in the first year. So from all these things, I will get my first, I will get my money. And the second most important thing, what is the uniqueness of my technology with the other players? Because most of the companies who are in the markets are like claiming the fluoride. So I have already told you the most of the fluoride they are targeting is the bound fluoride, not the ionic fluoride. That size is so small and it is dissolved in the water, because I have a huge experience in the research. So they are already they could not remove the ionic fluoride very effectively. And second most important thing, this product is very affordable. It's very like simple to install. It's do not require water and electricity for the operations. It is so simple that we have designed and patented that you have to dip in the water like this, and the fluoride will be removed. So we have done a lot of surface chemistry and advanced level of the science, and I have collaborated with the best brain of the not only India but the world, being as a scientist. So all of them are working day and night for the regeneration and improving the capacity of the fluoride and other things. And I'm proudly say that we have increased our capacity for the fluoride removal. We have started with the 200 ml. Now we are at 500 liter capacity. So I can easily say that our, the cost we are very, very comparable to that. And we are very, very effective if we compare with the other market players.
Thanks, Sophia. That's brilliant. Thank you. And Prem.
Yes, quick rapid fire. Thanks, Sophia. Quick questions. So you mentioned you're raising 150K or 750K?
So
are you raising $150,000 or $750,000?
Like in Indian, it's like 6.5 crores and 170K in the USD, like this.
No, how much are you raising funding? I thought you said 150.
I have already raised. You are asking.
Yes. Are you raising more?
Yeah. I'm at phase that I'm asking to raise more. Yes.
How much are you asking?
Like setup. Yeah, I am 750K USD. That is in India like 5.6 crores.
Yeah, that's what you're raising now. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I want this
great.
for establishment of my production capacity and improvement, and like for recruitment of my key staff members.
Yeah,
for
fine.
the
Sounds
supply
good.
chains and operations. Yeah.
Super. And your patent, is it India patent or international patent?
Sorry, it's an India patent, but I will apply through the PTC to the African countries because, yeah.
Okay. And what's your per unit cost?
Per unit cost is like 3,000 INR.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So I'm only rushing because we don't have time. Yeah, sorry about that. Last but not the least, I will put you in touch with the global program head of water at Kimberly-Clark. They have operations in 132 countries and they consume 20 billion liters of water every day. Okay, you might find it useful.
Please give me. No, you are so fast. I'm not been able to assemble that. To whom I have to connect?
You connect with me.
Yeah.
And Sam or Sylvie will connect you with me. So long story short, I will connect you to the global program leader for water at Kimberly-Clark, which is a paper manufacturing company, right?
Okay.
So they consume 20 billion liters of water every day across 132 countries. Okay.
It's a huge opportunity to connect.
Yeah. And this gentleman is also on the advisory board of South African Water Conservatory Board. Okay.
Oh, that's great. That's great. I would love to do that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank
Super.
you so much. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thanks.
Thanks both. Thanks, Sophia. Prem, I'll let you get away with more than one question there since they were such good questions. So thanks very much. Okay, great. Thank you, Sophia. Okay, so we'll move on to the next presenter now. So Navaz, if you can load up your slide. So Navaz from Deltax Automotive. Great. Navaz, are you ready to go?
Yes.
Your slides are not up. They came up and then went back and then went off.
Yes, yes. Yeah, can you see my screen?
Perfect. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Off you go. Get started. Thanks.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. Sam and Sylvie and everyone for giving this wonderful opportunity to pitch in this pitch session. And very good afternoon. This is Nawaz, co-founder, CEO of Deltax Automotive. In brief, you can call it DX Auto. So I'm here today to present you UKITS, the micromobility product platform that we are developing. So here our mission is to accelerate EV adoption through micromobility by encouraging people to use micromobility solutions that we are developing. So our research for the problem were two parts. One is the problems that are discouraging people to use micromobility solutions, be it shared mobility services or in the product. We searched the problems that the users are facing, and the other side of the problem is what is stopping EV adoption. So let me go to the first side where the products and services that has problems and discouraging people to use. So the product, they always have a lack of security features and theft version issue throughout the micromobility products and solution. And next is complicated charging. Some of the products have charging batteries on the vehicle, which they have to take their entire vehicle to charge, or even if they have swappable battery, the charging plug points and everything are quite confusing and very not easy to use. So the other side, very interesting problem is they are always compromised with ride quality. For example, a scooter, a Segway type scooter that costs 1,000 euros does not have suspension, and that is being complained by the users always. The next is shared mobility problems, where people are always disappointed when they want a ride, they don't get it because it's a car. So other side, the full-size EV scooters are costly, but does not give the convenience of a petrol-sized motorcycles, petrol motorcycles that they can go to a gasoline station, just fill petrol and go. So the charging infrastructure is not deployed. So that is the problem, even if they pay hefty amount for buying that scooter. So we boil down to a solution that we build a scooter platform that can give reasonable range of 50 kilometers. The battery is swappable. You can take out and charge it anywhere at your convenience in any power socket. So with that platform, we built two products. The one on the left is a foldable scooter that has front and rear suspension, and the right has the storage and seat. Both have swappable battery and fingerprint unlocking system. This is how it works. You just tap the stand before you park, the wheel gets jammed, and when you want to start the vehicle, you just tap the stand back and hold the vehicle with your finger on fingerprint scanner. You are ready to take off. So this works with fingerprint and also the mobile app based unlocking systems. So with these two products, we target different markets. So with the seated and storage version, we target delivery partners and other millennial users in the urban city. Whereas the standard ride is easy to commute inside a campus or IT parks or industrial areas. And even the international market opportunity with the Kicks standard ride scooter. So just in India, the total addressable market is $43 billion. And right only in Bangalore, it is 400 million. This we calculated with a cost of 3 rupees that every 0 to 5 commuter spends on their ride per kilometer. So from our market research, 15 customers are already on board with us for the test ride program, and 88% among them were interested somehow in this product. So throughout this, we were aware of our competitors. We always made sure with the price that we have the leveraging features that we are going to provide our customers. For example, the MI scooter, which costs 55,000 in INR here, if we import, does not have a removable battery, and it just gives 30 kilometers of range. Whereas our scooter gives 50 kilometers range, and with just 1 kilowatt, 0.7 kilowatt of power. So how do we enter with this with our products to this market? So in the beginning, we'll be making 30 vehicles a day in our production unit, and that would cost 415 euros. And we'll be doing a referral-based program where people will do referrals and connecting us with the customers. Next is to engage with partners who are already into monthly rental businesses. Say we are in talks with people who rent furnitures and gadgets on monthly basis, so that we sell them these vehicles and they rent on it, and they service and monitor the vehicle with the features that we give. And next is to enter global market. So throughout this process, we increase our volume by having multiple product variants, and we end up reducing the cost further down the line.
Hi, Nevaz. 1 minute.
Yeah. So past 2 years, we had been developing prototypes and testing with people for roadworthiness and also the ergonomic aspects. From the latest Startup India Seed Fund, we are aiming to produce 20 vehicles and tested with our test driver in our test driver rider program, 15 on the basis of 20 vehicles circulated 15 every 15 days. So this is my team. We jumped out of our master's program from Center of Product Design and Manufacturing with 5 people, and now we are 20 people team, and we are mentored by our Professor Gurumurthy and Shekhar Vishwanath, who was the past vice chairman of Toyota Cluster Motor. He's helping us in scaling and planning the roadmap of the business. So here is our ask. In next 12 months, we are in need of 12 million to expand our business to make 30 units a day. And in total, we have raised 89k euros in the past. Thank you. Open to the question. And in one-on-one session, I would be happy to demonstrate our product, which is right here.
Brilliant, thanks, Nevaz. I'm sorry we don't get to see you like driving around the room. That would be a nice development. Okay, so yeah, visual aids, perfect. Thank you. Great. Okay, so Adil, if you could go first.
So thanks, Nevaz, for the presentation, and nice to see that you've got a product in the background. Just sort of, so I know we're kind of short on time, but just want to know. I know you guys haven't launched market yet, but can you like spend a little more time talking about the traction you've had, as well as kind of how do you all compare to kind of, again, right? We've seen the space and we've seen a number of competitors in the space. In terms of the success of when it comes to traction that you all have had, talk to me about that. Talk to me about also, do you all kind of plan to manufacture this in-house, or are you all servicing it to third party, and what's the IP around predominantly?
Okay, so the product development part was very important for the past 2 years. We are in a stage where we have built a roadworthy vehicle with all these features packed in. So whereas what we see in the market does not have a full-fledged suspension or all these features that we have built in this vehicle. So this took us time to develop this product. Right now we are in a stage where we are engaging people to test ride. So with 20 vehicles, we'll be in next 6 months, we'll be testing it with the list of customers that we have. we'll be circulating the vehicle for every 15 days to get the most feedback out of it. And the IP part of it, our IP lies in the chassis and the electronic system and the software system all together. So it is all tied or tied along with each other in every aspects. So we are yet to go for IP and all the process. So we are planning to do that in next coming months, because we just got a Startup India seed fund landed in our bank account. So we are working on those things in very quite urgency. Yeah, and if I missed something from your question, can you?
And are you making it in-house, or have you outsourced?
So most of the things are done by our vendors. So we maintain the design, and it's mostly outsourced. So we just assemble products. We just assemble parts together, and we are planning to have only the assembly unit, not the complete vertical integration at this stage.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Great, thank you, Navas. Prem, over to you.
Just checking, total number of patents applied and granted and geography?
No, we haven't applied for patents yet.
Why is that?
We kept on iterating. So, there was the funding factor also. So just now we got our 50 lakhs seed fund grant. So we are proceeding with that. We'll be doing it.
I suggest you talk to MIT. I suggest you reach out to somebody at MIT, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. There is a grant of 15 lakhs for every IP. Okay.
Okay.
I suggest you reach out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks a lot.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Prem. Thank you, Navas. Excellent. Okay. So in the interest of sort of staying on track for time, we'll move on now to Manjusha from Rechargion Energy. Manjusha, you ready?
Yeah, hi everyone. Good afternoon. So I'm sharing my slides. Slides are visible? Hello?
Yes.
Yeah.
Not in presentation. Yeah, no.
Okay. Yeah, well, thanks all, and thanks Sylvie and Sam and Triple Chasm and Cambridge Cleantech for this opportunity. Well, I'm Manjusha, founder of Rechargion Energy. Rechargion is a deep tech startup developing next generation rechargeable sodium ion batteries as a superior alternative to contemporary lithium ion batteries. And we are leveraging science and technology innovations from my lab at CSIR National Chemical Laboratory in Pune. I'm basically a principal scientist at CSIR NCL. And we are developing these clean energy storage solutions for stationary as well as mobility applications. We know that the concern towards global warming is driving the world towards macro trends like shift towards renewable clean energy and then more reliance on internet communication as well as electric mobility. So because of this, the demand for rechargeable batteries is also growing exponentially, and it is expected that the global energy storage market would reach to 87.5 billion annually by 2027, growing at a CAGR of 13%. And particularly in India, it is growing more rapidly at a CAGR of 35%. Basically, the secondary battery rechargeable battery market is dominated by these two technologies, lead acid batteries and lithium ion batteries. And even lithium ion batteries are making inroads in lead acid battery market as well. But there are some issues on being too reliant on lithium ion batteries. First is sustainability or supply risk, because lithium and cobalt, which are key elements or key materials for this technology, are disproportionately distributed throughout the world, and therefore that is the prices and costs are constantly fluctuating for these raw materials, and the component manufacturing as well as cell manufacturing capabilities are concentrated in some countries only. So that is creating a kind of energy insecurity among some parts of the world because of geopolitical issues. And another major issue with this technology is safety. So lithium-ion batteries are prone to thermal runaway even at slightly elevated temperatures, and they cannot be stored or transported in completely discharged state. You may be aware that the civil aviation has put a bar on bulk transportation of lithium-ion batteries through air. So, we have developed sodium-ion battery technology as an alternative to lithium. It is because sodium is globally available. It is abundantly available and proportionately distributed throughout the world. This is lithium and cobalt free chemistry. This is very safe chemistry because it can be stored and transported even at 0 volt and can be operated at a temperature from -40 degrees Celsius to +60 degrees Celsius. This battery can outperform lead acid and lithium ion in terms of specific energy and specific power, with very good cycle life of more than 3000 cycles. Sodium ion battery can be charged more than 80% in only 15 minutes at room temperature, that is at 4C rate, which is not possible with lithium ion batteries. And because of the lower cost of sodium than lithium and compatibility of aluminium as current collector on both the sides, anode and cathode side, makes this chemistry more affordable than lithium-ion battery, and it is expected that this battery would cost at least 30 to 40% lesser than lithium-ion batteries. To achieve this, a lot of innovation is required on electrode materials, because electrode materials are crucial for energy density, cycle life, and overall the performance of the batteries. So we have been working on these innovative electrode materials since decade at CSIR National Chemical Laboratory, and this technology has been transferred from NCL to Rechargion, and Rechargion is further advancing it. We are at a stage of optimizing our full cell. We have got around 234 watt-hour per kilogram at 1C rate in a coin cell. We are optimizing our commercial prototype in the form of pouch cells. Our minimum demoable product would be 150 watt-hour per kilogram battery with 1000 cycles, and minimum viable product would be a sodium-ion pouch cell with 170 watt-hour per kilogram with more than 5000 cycles. This is a competitive landscape. We are comparing here with Faradion, which is a pioneer. This is a UK-based company. They are pioneers in the sodium-ion battery technology, and recently have been acquired by Reliance Energy, a big corporate in India, for 100 million pounds. And also in comparison with lithium-ion batteries, our technology scores high at many parameters, including comparable energy densities, more cycle life, and potentially lower cost per kilowatt hour. Globally, sodium-ion batteries market size is expected to grow at a CAGR of 19.3% by 2030, and total surveyable obtainable market for Rechargion is expected to be $3 billion US. Our business model is that we will be fabricating the basic building blocks of battery packs, that is sodium-ion pouch cells, and it would be a B2B partnership with battery pack manufacturers. We are also open for technology transfer as well. This is our technology development roadmap. We are here. We have optimized our full cell in the form of coin cell. Within next 6 months, our first pouch cell commercial prototype would be ready. Eventually, we want to have a manufacturing plant of 1000 pouch cells per day. This is our team with 75 plus years of global experience in energy storage, material science, experimental physics, and early stage startup from eminent institutes like France, IMN in France, Rice University, of course, CSIR, NCL, and University of Paris, University of Alabama. And John is my partner from UK. He has decades of experience with Imperial Innovations in early stage academic startup management. As I said, that this technology has been transferred from CSIR NCL to Rechargion. Last year, we have won Tectonic Innovation Challenge by Tata Power by Social Alpha as a top 17 clean tech startups in India. And recently, we have received our first grant from Technovus, which is an incubator from Department of Heavy Industries. We need strategic partnership and hand-holding for global footprint, and we are seeking £1 million to scale up R&D, pouch cell product development, safety test, and certification in next 12 to 15 months. Thank you.
Thank you, Manjusha. That was fantastic. I didn't give you a 1 minute warning either, so apologies there, but you didn't need it, so that was even better. Great. Straight to you, Prem.
Yeah, thanks. Unique opportunity, certainly, and thanks for putting this across. So, question to you: if I were to give you a company to trial your fuel cells, can you trial it today?
Can you repeat? There is a lot
If
of
I
info.
were to give you, if I were to give you a company to trial your product, can you trial it today? If I were to give you a vehicle company which is into electric retrofits, is this something that you can do? Trial your battery.
We can do that in next 6 months, Prem, because we have optimized in coin cell form, which is like a lab level prototype. But for developing commercial prototype in the form of pouch cell, probably we'll need 6 more months. So within 6 months, I can give batteries that can be tested in electric vehicles.
Okay, and as always, my question: how many patents? And was it India or abroad?
So we have filed 3 patents. We have filed it through CSIR because this technology is developed in CSIR. The patent has been filed in US, Korea, Japan, and India. It has not been granted yet. So 3 patents on anode materials are filed. And further, Rechargion is developing cathode materials. So there is further scope for IP development from Rechargion itself as well.
Okay, be in touch.
Thank you, Prem. And Adil.
Yeah, thanks, Sam. Thank you for the presentation. Yeah, I kind of agree with Prem. It's pretty interesting space. Just, I know you mentioned that you know, the kind of focus is to kind of build out cells and kind of focusing geographical wise on the Indian market. Now we've kind of seen sodium ion that hasn't. It's still in very early stages. Just a little curious on where are you in terms of the battery manufacturers when it comes to sodium ion? I know that a lot of that production is still happening in China. Are you seeing enough traction within the Indian market as well? And do you feel that that's 6 months is kind of a likely timeline for even battery manufacturers of sodium ion for the Indian market especially?
Yeah, I understand that. In fact, lithium-ion battery manufacturing itself has just started in India. But the good thing is that the plants where lithium-ion batteries can be manufactured can be sodium-ion batteries also manufactured in the same plant, because there would not be any difference in the process or in the forms of battery. Just the chemistry is different. So we can immediately shift the sodium-ion fabrication in the lithium-ion plants itself. And I see that a lot of activities going on in India itself also for cell-to-cell manufacturing as well. A lot of incentives are being provided, and there is recently one startup which has been incorporated with us last year itself, Rechargion Energy. So they are going to in the zone of making battery packs from sodium-ion batteries itself. So they are not into cell manufacturing. We are into cell manufacturing, and they will be making battery packs. We have also made contacts with the people in India who are into battery pack manufacturing. For example, Vision Mechatronics, Dr. Rashi Gupta, she is also called as Battery Valley. So she has in principle agreed to make battery packs from our batteries and test them and validate them. And we have also association with Automotive Research Association of India, ARAI, which is a kind of certificating and validating agency for all kind of vehicles, including electric vehicles. In fact, Technovus is their incubator, and they are active partners and advisors for our company.
Sam, I'm going to jump in. I have another question. Can I?
Go on then, Prem, since you've...
Right. Manjusha, it's probably a daft question. Is any part of your fuel cell biodegradable?
No. It's not fuel cell, Prem. Let me correct you. Fuel cell.
Sorry, it's anybody that's fuel pouch. Sorry, the pouch.
It's a sodium-ion battery. I said full cell because there can be half cell also, where only anode material is tested against sodium metal. There can be half cell based on cathode material tested against sodium metal. But this is a full cell where both anode and cathode material are like a commercial battery. So I said full cell, not fuel. Okay.
Sorry, my bad. The reason why I'm asking that is because I'm nervous. Personally, I'm nervous. I'm sure most of us are also will join me in this. I'm nervous that battery waste is the next plastic that's going to hit the world. right? So you're a scientist. So let me see this thought process in you. Think about how you can make it biodegradable. I'll stop there.
Yeah, so I am working on recycling of batteries as well as a scientist, not as a founder of Rechargion. Separately, I am being funded for recycling of lithium-ion batteries itself. So I have a fair idea about recycling of sodium-ion batteries as well. And I must say that there are a lot of companies, you must have heard about E-Parisara in Bengaluru. They have big lithium-ion recycling plant in Andhra Pradesh. So this activity is also gaining traction in India. So yeah, yeah, it's a balance. I know, I understand your concerns, but our energy requirement and our concern about environment, we have to strike some balance somewhere. So yes.
Yeah. Okay, sounds good. Thanks.
Okay, thanks everybody. Thank you, Manjusha. Great presentation. And we will move on to final presentation of the day. It's going to be presented by Sagar Gasola in place of Siddhar today. Yeah, so from ICEND. And yeah, Sagar, are you there? Yep, you're loading up. Hi, Sagar.
Yeah.
Are you ready
hello.
to go?
Yeah. Can you see the screen?
Yeah, it's not in presentation mode. That's the only thing.
Okay now?
Perfect. Okay. I'll give you a 1 minute warning. And
sure.
Yeah. Ready when you're off you go. Great.
Good day to all of you. This is Sagar Gosalia from International Center for Nano Devices. We call ourselves ICEND. The recent pandemic has clearly depicted the value for a faster vaccine development. The COVID vaccine was developed in 12 months. Imagine a world where we can get a new vaccine in less than 8 weeks. In fact, today, Andy Felden, VP of Thermo Fisher Research and Development, has expressed need for a device, what we are going to talk about shortly. In fact, he has put this on LinkedIn today. Apart from vaccine development, there are multiple crises like global warming, aging-related disease, antimicrobial resistance, energy conservation, and many more that need to be addressed. The best way to solve these problems is to understand how nature works to solve. Nature does by working at the smallest level, which is the molecule level. However, it's not easy to work with molecules directly. There are many award-winning devices that can observe molecules. However, when it comes to observing these molecules in a liquid phase, these devices are handicapped. The current solutions are not only expensive, but they have two basic problems. Let's imagine that we want to have an aerial view of these cattle that are moving in water. It's a very pleasant sight to the eyes to see this view. However, this cloud obstructs the view. Bulging of liquid is the problem while studying molecules in liquid phase. This problem has been quoted by more than 2,000 scientists across the world. Hence, field of view is the first problem for studying molecules in liquid phase. Now, if we want to study behavior of a particular cattle amongst the herd, it is extremely difficult as they are continuously moving. Hence, not being able to focus on one particular molecule is second limitation of the current technology. So the second problem is out of focus, and that does not allow us to study a single molecule for its anatomy, especially when it is in liquid phase. Hence, to solve the current problems, we need to have ability to hold and manipulate a single molecule. For this, we have developed the first breakthrough device that can handle real-time biological, chemical, and physical science problems in fluid at a single molecule level. We call this device UNanoD, Universal Nanofluidic Device. UNanoD will be a standard like USB that can work seamlessly across various instruments. Our design solution UNanoD addresses the true problems what we talked about. The first one, field of view, and second one being out of focus for moving objects at a nanoscale dimension. The device is already at TRL 8. We are the first one to develop a 25 nanometer technology for fluidics. UNanoD is validated through expert peer review process by Royal Society of Chemistry. Currently, we are in the process of rolling out our first lot of devices at the incubation lab at IISc Bangalore that will be given to customers for commercial application. This is being done through a proprietary fabrication route. UNanoD's uniqueness is unparalleled. It does not require assembling by the customer. It is meant for nanoscopic molecular dynamics and unified as well as optical as well as electron microscopic studies. It is reusable, thus produces zero waste. It is generic and customizable, can be used with or without readout. Hence, we are well placed among the competitive landscape. There is a large market of this kind of device, around 1.5 billion USD, most of which is not addressed as of now. We would like to take beachhead approach for our market entry strategy and target academia and biotech companies in the first 2 years of our commercial production. This device can also be used for drug discovery, agriculture, dairy, metallurgy, food safety, energy materials, computing, water-based applications, and a host of other industries. Our estimated revenue in the second year is about $1 million, followed by $5 million and $10 million in year 3 and year 4 respectively. We have a clear roadmap for our business from where we stand right now till 2025 in terms of priority of our products. While we are ready with photon transparent UNanoD, we are already working on electron transparent UNanoD, followed by a combination of both in a single device. Happy to inform you that our product already has initial traction for varied applications, as can be seen on the slide, from academia like UK National Facility, University of Leeds, IISc, and University of Göttingen, to name a few. This has been possible due to our USP of universality as well as dynamic precision that is offered by the device. We are also in advanced stage of discussion for distribution through a prospective partner, DSS, from Takara Biotech in India. They are one of the key distributors for major laboratory instruments across India. Whatever we have achieved till date would not have been possible without our world-class team that has the right mix of technical as well as a business expertise. The stage where we are today has been due to active support from various global institutions, as can be seen. Today, we are in the right place and at the right team, and we are looking for a funding of 10 million euros so that we can create a manufacturing facility that can help us to achieve our goal of becoming a semiconductor integrated device manufacturer. Thank you for your patient ears, and would be happy to answer questions if any.
Great, thank you, Sagar. Okay, Prem.
Yeah, hi, well done, Sagar and team. So very, very pleased to hear this, which is great. 2 questions. Number 1, can you please give me a few use cases where you could use this technology in specific, in different sectors?
Yeah, sure. It would be nice if my colleague, Dr. Siddharth Ghosh is there. Siddharth, if you can just take that question, please.
Thanks, Sagar. So, Prem, if I am understood your question correctly, are you asking for the applications we have used this?
Yes, applications across more than one sector. Give me one use case in a couple of sectors.
Yes. So to start with, we have used it for the smallest DNA detections. So 45 base pair of DNA. With current technology, with gel electrophoresis and any of these affinity chromatography, anything that small is very hard. So 45 base pair DNA, we are talking about 45 ATCG basically. That's one. Then the second one we have tried with nanoparticle, which is, for example, quantum dots, to detect quantum dots, which are very, very heavily used in your QLEDs, Samsung device and display devices, in your energy devices. The other one is polyaromatic hydrocarbons, very, very toxic, carcinogenic hydrocarbons, which are very dangerous. So we detected at single molecule. Yeah, so 3 of them, quite a few more. So I just want to stop here. Neuroscience is another one. So I just want to stop here.
Okay. So second question is why manufacture? You are clearly an R&D company with products. Why manufacture?
We manufacture the chip. So absolutely the starting point as Intel was. So we are at the same stage where we are creating a universal chip that is possibly I shouldn't say possibly, we're the only one to do 25 nanometer technology for fluidics. So the idea is that we are the transistors for fluidic world in the nanoscale.
Agreed, but my question still remains.
Sorry,
are you a technology?
Sorry.
My question still remains, are you a technology company or a chip manufacturing company?
So both. So we are definitely heavily with IP heavy company. So that means research and development. So we have first employees are application scientists. So we are hand-holding our customers to use our technology. So that means R&D is one of the very, very strong side of it. Along with that, the manufacturing. So we do manufacture, so proprietary fabrication method. So that means we are very, very poor at the moment, and we are very, very afraid to outsource it. So manufacturing wise, we are strong, and R&D wise, we are also strong. So we are both.
Okay, right. I'll request Sylvie to connect both of us for a separate, longer conversation, but I can only talk after 10th of April. Just completely chock-a-block, okay?
Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Thanks, Prem. And Adil.
Thanks, Sam. I'm going to take a page of Prem's book. Can you talk to me a little bit about the IP? What are the patents that you all have filed? You know, you're setting up manufacturing unit. Is there, you know, you're going to be filing a process patent as well? I think for starters.
Are you asking the status of the what kind of IP we have?
Yeah. What are the different patents that you'll have in what countries?
As I said to Prem, that we are very afraid to patent. So we are not in a position to patent, and possibly we will not patent. So that's for sure. That's something we are very, very afraid. So we are a base technology company. So we would like to maintain a strong trade secret along with the side of open source. So we would be very happy to teach others, license, give license for unit-based kind of thing in the second phase. But first phase is always going to be proprietary.
Okay.
So we have published quite a few. So the published articles do not disclose the manufacturing method, and that's where we even run very strongly in our company. All our employees at the moment are under bond trade secret agreements. Yeah, that's how we're running that.
Thank you.
Great. Okay. Thank you, Sid. And
I can say one thing, we will have a very interesting conversation when we talk again.
Thanks a lot, Fred. I'm looking forward to it.
That's a pretty exciting, I think they call that a buying signal in the trade. So fingers crossed that goes somewhere. Thank you, Sid. Thank you, Sagar. Okay, so that was our final presentation from the second session. So yeah, we've heard from some really interesting, I mean, maybe I'm a bit biased, but that's as good a selection of clean technologies as I've seen pitched back to back, and I've seen quite a few, as you would imagine, in the world that we operate. So yeah, so great, thank you. So thank you to the panelists. Great questions, really insightful, and I think really useful in terms of for the companies, in terms of just hearing what it is that investors are interested in. I just want to say a couple of thank yous also to the mentors that have worked with all the companies, both the session this morning and this afternoon. Sorry, the session 1 and session 2. They've kind of been working a bit in the background in terms of really kind of helping them to polish up the one pages that you saw in the pitch book, but also the presentations and the decks you see today. And similarly, a big thank you to Triple Chasm, Uday and Sam, who in the audience today, who've really done a lot of the heavy lifting in terms of the intensive work with the companies over the last 3 weeks. So yeah, that's a thank you from them. Thank you obviously to the Cambridge team, and a huge thank you to the companies who obviously, you know, they're the ones that really are kind of, you know, bringing the sparkle to these events. So yeah, thank you to everyone. So that's it from me. I'll hand back to Sylvie for wrap up and next steps.
Thanks, Sam. Well, you've done all the thank yous. So a big thank you to the Cambridge team, to everyone, as you said, Sam, from the investor community, the pitching companies, the mentors, and obviously Triple Chasm and the FCDO. So next steps, this is the start of the journey. So if you are in the room and want to meet one of the companies, please be in touch with me. We can arrange meetings from this afternoon or evening for you in India, up to whenever you're ready. So if it's after the 10th of April, it's after the 10th of April. If it's in May, it would be in May. We're not going to let you down, and we will make sure you've got the right connection to grow. So thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sylvie. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, everyone. It was,
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Sylvia, I'm